Scenes like this peppered throughout Beaver Creek. Look at this huge tree just ripped straight from its roots, and so much debris absolutely everywhere. I'm standing out in the middle of 4th Street because they have it closed down. It's been closed down since 1 o'clock this afternoon when this collapse occurred. At this intersection, the police say the woman ran a red light, hit the police officer. The police officer went flying past that telephone pole, up the stairs, and right into Marcos Market. This barge that was heading upriver towards Cincinnati apparently came into contact with the Ludlow Bromley Yacht Club. This fire started at about 10:35 this morning. You could see it's still very much involved. Black and white smoke pluming into the sky right now. Whether it is a water pipe or rolling papers, you will no longer have to wink and tell people, hey, it's just for tobacco. I didn't put on a jacket today. It is just gorgeous, but I think there might be something wrong with my phone. It keeps saying December 26th on it. I have to tell you something. The weather here, so gorgeous. People were out skiing today in t-shirts and shorts.
Continue our live team coverage. I'm going to send it to David Winter, who is live in Beaver Creek with a look at the damage and destruction there. David, good evening.
Good evening, Kyle. Scenes like this peppered throughout Beaver Creek. Look at this huge tree just ripped straight from its roots, and so much debris absolutely everywhere. Take a look at this construction debris. These are trusses, but I'm looking around and there's nothing like this anywhere. These might have come from a neighborhood perhaps a quarter mile down, and no electricity anywhere around here. And here's why. You can see down power lines. When the tornado came through, it took down one power pole and just ripped down all the others. You can see the police trying to keep people safe. But it's the neighborhoods that saw the real devastation. Roofs ripped right off of homes, homes blown right off of foundations. People throughout Beaver Creek, well, they all have a story to tell.
Tossed me around like I was a toy. It's crazy. I never seen anything like it, never experienced anything like it. I hope I never do again.
Tell us what happened.
We were in the bedroom.
What's that?
We were in the bedroom watching the news reports, and they're all about the storms. And luckily, we're watching that. We could have very easily just went to sleep. And I think if we would have went to sleep, we'd probably be dead right now. And we see that the storm's coming into the Wright Pat area, Beaver Creek area, and we decided to get up to get ourselves to the bathroom. But I mean, once we did, it must have just been right on top of us. And then my wife's sister was in front of me, and my wife was already in the bathroom when the explosion happened at the back, and it pushed me down, and I knocked her down. And my wife grabbed her and pulled her into the bathroom here. And I came following in behind her. And of course, by then, all that wind was coming through here, debris. Once it was all over and I came out and I saw the front of the house, the roof was gone, the garage was gone, the front bedroom was gone. We didn't know the extent of the damage everywhere else. Just pretty amazed, really, that we didn't get hurt. So this room here is where our grandkids stay when they're with us. Luckily, they were not with us tonight. Well, after we came out of the bathroom, we were just kind of noticing all the other damage. And like I say, it was dark. It's kind of hard to see anything, but I tried to go out in the garage and saw what was going on in here. The garage was so filled up with stuff. It took me about 20 minutes to get outside. It's just devastating. I mean, all the stuff that you accumulate over the years of your life is just gone. It's just, it's hard to explain. We have an emptiness in it, and paid off the loan about 3 or 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah.
And
Well, this is all yours now.
it's all mine. I own it. I own this, free and clear.
Free and clear. Couple of quick reflections. Amazing how many people we spoke with that still have a sense of humor after all this. Also amazing how many people have turned out to help. We saw one family, they pulled into the neighborhood with bags and bags from Target, water, food, just offering it to anyone in order to help. And of course, right now, job number one, get the electricity back up so these people can help themselves. Reporting live in Beaver Creek, David Winter. Back to you, Kyle and Trotwood.
All right, David, thank you so much for that live report.
Problems leading to fatal crashes. On the surface, it seems like it would be an easy problem to fix.
But as David Winter discovered, for truck drivers, it's far from simple. And for lawmakers, it's apparently pretty complicated.
Ask most of these truckers driving by, they will tell you it's their number one issue, and it's only getting worse. The lack of parking for truckers is forcing them to put themselves and others at risk. 3 times in the last 6 months in the Cincinnati area.
The Ohio State Highway Patrol investigates a deadly crash at a rest stop on I-75.
Cars rear-end semis parked on off-ramps. These are the images and the costs of a growing and deadly problem, a lack of parking for semis.
And take a look on all the off-ramps. It's trucks on all the off-ramps, man.
Cliff Brown is one of 3 million truckers in the U.S., a number expected to grow by 67% in the next 20 years. As the numbers grow, regulators are limiting driving hours to keep truckers from driving tired.
Most of these drivers, back in the old days, they would cheat a lot.
To do what?
To get more hours. They'd take pills and they would drive all night, 24 hours straight.
The feds now require electronic logging devices, or ELDs. Truckers are forced to take more breaks, longer breaks, and they cannot cheat because the ELDs keep them honest. When their time is up, they need to get off the road or face fines or termination.
And I've been doing this 15 years, and it's getting to where it's just a hassle.
Jess Cook says he's not tired, but he was about to go past his hours and had to stop.
Truck stops are getting to where they are getting full by 3 or 4 o'clock in the evening.
Forcing trucks to park on off-ramps, on-ramps, and on the shoulder. Ohio and Indiana have the second and third most truck parking in the country. But Ohio ranks 39th in space availability because so many trucks traverse the state. A study in Kentucky reveals nearly 90% of truck parking is in use at night.
Is there enough parking in Ohio for truck drivers?
I don't think there will ever be enough.
The Ohio Department of Transportation recognizes the problem.
We haven't just sat back and said, well, truck drivers just got to figure it out. We've launched this system that helps them to plan ahead. We've added truck parking at this facility and a sister facility on the other side of I-71 here in Warren County.
The new rest areas add 24 new truck slots. ODOT also points to its mobile app allowing truckers to see rest area availability, which also ties into freeway displays. But these systems seem to illustrate the problem as opposed to solving it. This sign on I-75 shows 4 slots available for trucks at the next rest area, but when we pulled in about 2 minutes later, the slots were filled, and trucks were forced to pass through and park on the ramp. And perhaps the reason they are so willing to park on ramps, the truckers with whom we spoke say, the police in Ohio look the other way. We asked the Ohio State Highway Patrol about it.
I mean, every situation is different. If it's an imminent risk for safety, we're gonna have to move that truck.
Is every off-ramp an imminent safety risk, or are there safe off-ramps?
Well, so it depends.
Lieutenant Sellers says truckers need to plan ahead and park safely. But truckers say they cannot plan for stopped traffic or getting held up at a shipper or receiver.
So what's the answer?
What's the answer? More parking.
I found 23 state and national studies over the past 20 years at a cost of tens of millions of dollars to taxpayers that all said the same thing: there is a lack of truck parking. I spoke with one trucker who said he could have told me that for free, and it's time to stop studying the problem and start fixing it. David Winter, Local 12 News.
And we spoke to the author of a yet-to-be-released U.S. Department of Transportation study. One of the recommendations is for states to tie together all their parking apps into one so that truckers have one single source for finding open parking spots. He also told us that states and the feds need to spend more money on more parking. 5-year-old boy is left alone on a school bus for hours while his parents and police are frantically searching for him. David Winter joins us now with something that is an avoidable but relatively common issue. David.
It sure is, Cammie. That little 5-year-old boy ended up sitting in an empty bus in a Kenton County School District bus lot all alone in the dark for hours. Luckily, he slept through the whole ordeal. The day started for the 5-year-old boy like any other Wednesday, going to class at Kenton Elementary. At the end of class, he boarded a bus to KinderCare, where several kids are dropped off for after-school daycare. His aunt goes to pick him up at 5:30, but unlike any other day, daycare says he was never dropped off.
We're actually preparing for the worst-case scenario at that point. We take everything at that point. It's a critical missing child.
Police begin searching for the boy and considering a possible kidnapping situation. After about an hour, his aunt, on a hunch, drives to the school bus lot and boards his bus, and there he was.
The child had been sleeping, had no idea that he in fact had missed his stop. Thank goodness he was unaware of any situation going on at that point.
The school district is accepting full blame for what happened.
Bus drivers and bus monitors check their bus, and so I know they have counters, to make sure kids are getting on and off the bus and that kind of thing, but obviously protocol was not followed.
Luckily, the temperature was relatively mild. Children have died in similar incidents in extreme cold and extreme heat.
The system sets off an alarm when the driver turns off the bus ignition.
This video from a Canadian company shows technology that forces drivers to check a bus before leaving it. Drivers must walk to the back of the bus and press a button. If they do not and they try to leave the bus, an alarm goes off. Many states require electronic devices like this. Ohio does not. Indiana does for any buses manufactured after 2015. Kentucky requires the devices for all new buses. The bus in question was grandfathered into the fleet.
It could have been an awful scenario for us and the family. Thank goodness everything worked out in our favor and the child returned safe to his family.
Ohio and Kentucky do not require school districts to report incidents of children left on buses, so it's unclear exactly how many of these incidents have actually happened in two legs of the tri-state. Indiana does require reporting. It has averaged 24 incidents every year for the past 10 years. Now, if you extrapolate Indiana's numbers against the United States population, you could argue that this happens to more than 1,000 children across the country annually. Cammie.
And always scary for parents, David. Thank you. The Kenton County School District representative says that this is a personnel matter, so it will not disclose whether that bus driver was disciplined.
A Wilmington couple charged with child endangering appear in court today, nearly a week after police removed their children from the home they call not suitable for humans.
Local 12's David Winter spoke with the Wilmington building inspector and the owner of the home this afternoon in a story you'll see only on Local 12.
Worst thing I've seen. Never in my life seen anything that bad.
Detective Scott Baker could not show his face today because of another assignment, but he was the first on scene Saturday when an anonymous caller alerted that children were living in squalor without heat or water. He found toddlers only in diapers, shivering, and absolute filth.
All the toilets were filled with human feces, and not only filled with it, it was just all over the seats, all over the entire toilet, just smeared down through there. And there were mounds of dog feces, rotted food on the counters, rotted food on the floors. It was just, nothing was ever cleaned, nothing was ever put away.
Two of the people living in the home appeared in court today charged with child endangering. 20-year-old Lisa Green and 21-year-old Kyle Seo are the parents of the toddlers found in the home. We heard we're Channel 12. We just wanted to ask you a quick question about the condition of the home. The defendants would not speak with us, but the building inspector would.
And the first words out of my mouth were, "Oh my God, could we have done something here?" I was extremely shocked, yes.
And could you have?
If I knew it, yes, I guess I could have, if I knew it. But I can't just barge into your home. It's private.
We obtained documents from the city that show the homeowner has been cited multiple times over the last 12 years for debris and dilapidation. We met with the owners this afternoon and asked about the lack of water and heat in the home.
They have had their water on, they just haven't been using it. So apparently they told the police there was a leak, and my husband and I are going to repair the leak of the water.
And the heat?
They said that they had someone that could fix it, and they told us how much it was going to cost, and we excused part of their rent, and to our knowledge, they were having it fixed.
Are you a slumlord?
No, sir.
Well, the toddlers are now with a foster family. The two teens who are also living in that home, they are now living with their grandparents nearby. And the emaciated dogs in the home, they're now with the SPCA. The defendants are all out on bond, and the police say they want their children back. Back to you.
Thank you, David. We'll continue to follow this story, of course, and police also say there may be more charges filed against the defendants as the investigation continues.
It's live in the Breaking News Center. We've been following big news this morning along the Ohio River where a barge has crashed into the Ludlow Bromley Yacht Club. Let's go right to David Winter. He joins us live from the yacht club there with quite a scene, David.
Yeah, it really is, Adam. About 6:15 this morning, this barge that was heading upriver towards Cincinnati apparently came into contact with the Ludlow Bromley Yacht Club. You can see it over my shoulder. That's about half the boats that are usually there. There are usually about 40 boats, pleasure craft, ranging from about 20 feet all the way up to about 50 feet. And man, that barge just came through, took a lot of the boats with it. And luckily, there was no one on board except for one fellow who was on a houseboat, and he apparently was left uninjured. But as Adam pans across the river, we're heading upriver right now, you can actually see the kitchen and the bar. It was taken about a couple of 100 yards upriver to rest right on the bank, and then that barge just kept going upriver another half mile or so towards Covington. We're about 2 miles south of Covington right now. Red Cross is on scene, so are all of the utilities to make sure that this doesn't turn into more of a disaster than it is, turning off gas and electric to what was the Ludlow Bromley Yacht Club. A lot of people standing around looking to see what happened, looking for their boats to find them. A lot of those boats apparently are adrift right now, and a lot of people don't know not only where their boats are, but some of the people who worked here are wondering where their jobs are going to be. Reporting live from down on the Ohio River, David Winter, back to you in the studio.
Flames tear through a home where there is a report of a person trapped inside. Local 12's David Winter is now live on Mills Road in Independence. David, what can you tell us?
Well, this fire started at about 10:35 this morning. You can see it's still very much involved. Black and white smoke pluming into the sky right now. You can see it from a couple of miles away. Now, we are on Mills Road, just off of Taylor Mill in Independence, Kentucky, and this was really a story of heroism. We just spoke with the woman who lives at this home with her husband and her elderly sister, who is wheelchair bound, and her sister, who's nonverbal, did not know what was going on, but the woman who lives here with her went out back, saw that there had been a fire started, and then she quickly ran outside and called 911. She said, "I have to get back inside to help my sister," and 911 operator said, "Don't go back inside, wait for the police and the fire to arrive." And she said, "To heck with that, I'm going back inside, I'm going to get my sister." And that's exactly what she did. She went back inside with her house on fire, picked her sister up, and carried her out. Also saved her two dogs, Groot and Sugar, and that was no easy task. Groot is a big dog. Well, we were curious what may have started this fire. We talked to a captain at the Independence Police Department who told us this.
The fire, we believe, started on the back deck or underneath of the back deck, and typically with wood, obviously wood burns pretty quickly. It was only a matter of seconds before the fire traveled through the house, and the fire department had to break out of the front windows to try to control that.
Well, luckily they were able to do so. Unfortunately, this house looks like it's going to be a complete loss. Also fortunate, though, the houses in this area fairly spread out, so this fire doesn't look like it's going to be spreading to other homes, and there's also a pretty good distance with trees from that home, so it's not likely it's going to be catching any of the foliage around the home. So an incredible story of heroism. We'll have more on that coming up in our afternoon newscast. Reporting live from Independence, David Winter, back to you.